Hey guys, and welcome to the Human Echoes recap for Z Nation Season 3, Episode 5. This one's called Escorpion and the Red Hand. Obviously, if you know anything about Z Nation at all, and if you don't, I don't know why you're watching the recap for the 5th episode of the 3rd season, but welcome to the channel, I guess. But if you do know anything about Z Nation, you're gonna know that this is definitely gonna be about Hector and some of his backstory. I say backstory. One of the interesting things about this episode was it raised more questions than it answered. We open up with the main crew led by Warren finding these Z's that I think we've seen them in several promotional materials throughout the season. The Z's hanging from the bridge, or maybe I'm getting this crossed over with the weird movie with Mila Jovovich where she's got the zombies hanging from the bridge. Now I don't remember. I know they have zombies hanging from a bridge in that trailer, but I thought we'd seen some for this as well. Zombies hanging from a bridge, cool idea. It's great because it's something that actually does happen with cartels and gangs and things like that. And it's also awesome because in the zombie apocalypse, like instead of just being dead bodies and being creepy, they're moving around. And so our crew comes across these guys. They're sort of wondering what's going on. They see the giant word thieves spray painted on the walls. And before they can really figure too much out, somebody drops these zombies off of the bridge onto them. They have to go and kill them. They're attacked by these other people out of nowhere after they've had kind of a conversation back and forth with the people who dropped the zombies on them. And we find out that there is this conflict going on in this area between these people who call themselves the Red Hand, who literally spray paint their hands red, and these other folks who don't actually have any particular cool name. We'll just call them the normal guys for sake of distinction. And the Warren's crew goes off and kind of goes to hide in this sort of wacky funhouse warehouse where they have whoopee cushions and rubber chickens. And this setting is one of the things that I love about Z Nation because Z Nation makes jokes about serious things and then takes funny things and kind of puts them in a serious setting. They're not going ha ha he he. Like there's a whoopee cushion at one point that Dr. Mertz sits on, but it's not really played for a gut busting laugh. It's just sort of like, oh, we're running away from zombies and we're inside this stupid funhouse. Are you serious? I like that. That's that great balance. You know, you'll have something that'll be really dark and then you'll have a great joke. And then this is sort of a jokey atmosphere, but not with too many jokes thrown in on top of it. It's really well done. In the mad dash to get away from these people who call themselves the Red Hand, though, Warren's crew gets separated. So Warren and Doc and... No, I'm sorry, not Warren and Doc. Warren and Hector are with the two normals, and Addie and Doc and Sun May are in a different part of the warehouse dealing with what I think is maybe the fastest onset tooth infection ever. I don't remember Addie complaining about this earlier in the episode. She seemed like she was fine to fight, and then all of a sudden she wasn't. Which is a nitpick, and I wish that it was a little better. However, I do really like that they addressed this in the zombie apocalypse. And this is not the kind of show to get real heavy and real dark with, we don't have any antibiotics and we don't have enough stuff to heal diseases and you can die from a normal thing. But it is neat for them to talk about, hey, tooth infection, septic like infection setting in your body will kill you just as fast as a zombie or a blaster or an ender or anything else that you might encounter. Like, infection's still a thing, disease is still a thing, and now it's a worse thing because there's no medicine. And despite the fact that this wasn't a big overarching plot, you know, you could argue that it's kind of filler. I thought it was really effective filler. For one thing, it gave Sun May a chance to shine in a way that we haven't seen her before because she's trying to help Doc out. Doc, you know, tries to knock Addie out with the drugs that he has, the Oxycontin, and of course he has this great line of, oh, I gotta give him up my Oxycontin, I was saving this for something special. the worst timed Oxycontin injection, or not Oxy, whatever it was. I don't know a lot about drugs, guys, so I'm sorry, but whatever the white powder was that he gave her that's supposed to sort of help zonk her out. Immediately after he gives it to her, they're being attacked by the Red Hand. And then Sun Mei really helps out with that by, Addie's just fighting and thrashing and like does not want to get her teeth pulled. I think somewhat, delirious, partly from the drugs, partly from the pain, partly from the septic infection that's going through her body. And so Sun Mei chokes her out, which is a really great sort of practical moment of violence, I guess you would say. Not real hardcore violence, but definitely smart thinking on her part, swift action. That's the kind of thing you need from this lady. And I do like how she's starting to fit in with the crew. It's not like last season when, I forgot his name, the big strong guy shows up to jump in the place of Mac, and we're just like, okay, I guess he's on board. Like, she really feels like she's meshing well with the crew. And they do deal with it. I thought like it would have been a punk move to actually kill Addie this way. As much as you can argue and be like, the apocalypse, it's dark and gritty and like bad stuff can happen to anybody. Addie is a big enough character where you don't kill her with a toothache. So I wasn't real worried, but I did really enjoy that sort of little aside. Of course, the main section of this episode is Warren and Hector, and it was really brilliant to separate them out and to show them on their own, because Hector needs to deal with this stuff on his own, and he has these demons. He's not sure how to process being not exactly a new person. I mean, he's still the same guy. He's still the same Hector. He's still, he's put what he was behind him. All of his sort of status had he thought at least had died with his former clan. And now he's coming up on these people who are using his name, right? Like, so they find out from the normal guys that the Red Hand claims to be led by Escorpion. And I thought it was interesting that we didn't get an answer as to why, like how they know about him, how, where they got his name. They just sort of, from what we can tell, had heard of him from somewhere, thought, he was big enough of a boogeyman in the world that they figured just invoking his name was enough of a psychological tactic to get them somewhere. And we've seen a lot of this psychological tactics happening this season, right? We saw it in the opening movie where they're sort of playing psychology, but like they're trying to inspire fear in each other, that both teams really using the zombies in interesting ways, using, their environments in interesting ways. And the Red Hand is clearly into that. They don't ever do like a real full-on assault to the point where there looks like there's a lot of them, but I mean, it could be as few as like 5 or 6. They're making a lot of noise. They know they have their Molotov cocktails. They're not getting in close, but they're trying to push these people to get into conflict with each other. And they have a really interesting way of doing that. Eventually they send a bomb zombie against them, which is something that I know I saw that in promotional material for Z Nation. And man, that was such an powerful moment. If they hadn't gone to commercial break, I was sure Warren was dead. Like, you see that we saw that the way that they had the one zombie come up, they distract him with the clapping monkey. Again, great use of sort of that silliness, but in a really serious situation. And so the clapping monkey draws away the one bomb zombie, but there's a second one, blows the door off, like really dramatic shot of Warren getting blasted back by the bomb. And they had me. They had me on the edge of my seat at that point, because we were already dealing with the stuff with Addie. I was a little bit on edge, and then they showed her getting blasted back, and I thought, oh no, it's over. No. You didn't just take out Warren. You didn't just do that. And there was a lot of bouncing back and forth between who was in peril here. Like, I once they went to the commercial break, I thought, okay, they wouldn't have left it on a cliffhanger if she was going to die. Usually, if you're going to show somebody die, if you're going to show somebody die, you're going to do it like in the full lead out. You're not going to make us wait super long. So I felt like that she was probably okay, but then we come back and all of a sudden it's Hector in the fight for his life, right? Like then the zombies are busting through and, you know, Warren is completely out of it. He's sort of woken her up, but she can't really help. And the zombies are attacking him. We saw them bite his arm. It's like, oh, no, it's Hector. I thought it was Warren. It's Hector now. They told the fake out. Okay, Hector did end up being fine. But again, just like pulling your attention. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? You know, just almost like season 2, episode 2, where everybody was in danger at one point. You're like, somebody's eventually going to die here. Nobody eventually did, and I thought that it was really great how Hector's situation ended up here, where Warren says to him, listen, I'm not looking for a saint. I'm for sure not looking for a lover. The one I was interested in is dead now. She doesn't say that to him, but we all know. And she says to him, listen, I need a fighter. I need someone she said, I need a killer. And says to him, listen, whatever you were, whatever any of us were, like, it's not like there's some grand redemption. It's not like you have to prove yourself. There's no greater court of law. There's no, like, the only person you have to prove to anything to is yourself. And the only thing you have to prove is that you can survive. Like, there's not the good guys and the bad guys, really, which I loved that sort of philosophy she gave him. She says, listen, stop beating yourself up about who you used to be and be somebody now. Be whoever you can be now to keep going. And I thought that was a really great way to resolve that arc. Of course, also in the other fork of the story with Murphy and Tenk and Dr. Mertz, massive things happening. Murphy, we see, is going out, you know, his acolytes are gathering slowly. I'm glad that we didn't have to wait around for, like, they slowly trickle in and one by one they show up. Like, we sort of skip ahead to there's a bunch of people and they all want Murphy to bite him. And Murphy, I thought he was faking at first. You know, he goes in, he sees some people, especially this one girl who's really sick, and these other people want to be bit, and he's like, I'm tired. I can't bite you. And I mean, really, how much energy do you need to bite people? Exactly. He has bit quite a few people. He has like a decent number of guys under his control, including sort of Mr. Ponytail with male pattern baldness, who ends up being kind of not exactly a villain figure, but sort of like the hand of Murphy in this episode. And I think he's going to continue that at least for the next couple episodes. I'm interested to see where that character goes. But we find out that he's not faking, as I initially thought. He actually is pretty weakened from giving blood. And not only that, but he tells about Dr. Mertz, he's starting to feel like he's slipping towards the zombie half of the blend that he is instead of the human half. And she says to him, listen, I've got, I can give you enough of the original cure. He kind of fights her on that, but she convinces him, and it puts him right back a little bit. But now we have sort of this understanding of what Murphy is facing up against. And also she tells him, if I don't keep giving you these injections, you're going to end up like Patient Zero, which, if you guys remember Patient Zero from when they were in the government base from season 1, the guy who couldn't die but kept rotting. Oh, I mean, that's anybody's worst fear, just to end up as a corpse that can't move and just stares at the world as you rot away in your coffin or wherever you're at. Like, no. Nobody wants that. For sure, Murphy doesn't want that. And so, he has Dr. Mertz working on a cure. Meanwhile, Dr. Mertz reveals to Tenk, there's a great sort of like fake out where you think that she gave him the untested serum, which it was not the case. That was sort of originally what I put down on my notes, like, oh no, Mertz gave him the untested serum because Murphy made her. But then we come back from the commercial break and you realize, oh, no. It was, she gave him the original zombie cure, not cure, what do you call it? Vaccine that Murphy was given, which counteracts the Murphy dose on Tenk, means that Murphy can't control him anymore, but also means that they're no longer immune from the zombies, that the zombies will go back to trying to kill them. That was an interesting revelation because it does say to us, okay, Murphy can control these people when he's concentrating, but he doesn't have absolute control. He can't, like, unless he's exerting that control all the time, he can't force them to act against their own will. So Mertz was able to cook this up when Murphy wasn't looking. Maybe when he wasn't looking inside of her head. I still don't know how much of like a mind reader he is for the people that he's turned, but it's definitely not an absolute power. He can control them, and enough of them, I think, are on board with his whole deal that controlling them isn't difficult, but Mertz for sure is not on board with the whole deal. She tries to make an escape plan with 10K. 10K, goes and puts some stuff in the truck, but Murphy finds out about it. Great twist back and forth this episode. Just great back and forth between like, oh, Mertz is bad. Oh no, she's good. She helped him. Oh no, she's back under Murphy's control. Oh no. 10K makes a run for it. Some amazing action. Not like, again, it was that reversal thing. Not overdone, but 10K looks like he's beat real bad, and he kind of manages to, as he's on the ground, to kick people, and you see him sort of like gauging, okay, that guy thinks I'm down, so I'm gonna stay down for a little bit, so we'll slow down. Now I can take my shot, jump over the fence, back and forth. Really great stuff. He ends up on that same bridge from previous episode over the waterfall, looking down into it. Zombies on one end of the bridge, Murphy's guys on the other end of the bridge, kind of in the middle, right? Which I think might be symbolic. I think that it might be symbolic of 10K being sort of the best possible version of the blend, but maybe not, because he's still, like, we've counteracted the idea that the zombies won't be attracted to him, so there's no benefit there, but he's definitely between these two worlds of the zombies who are trying to kill him and Murphy who's trying to control him. And what does he do? Well, he jumps. And I was worried it was going to be a suicide thing. I was worried this is the end for 10K, but the way he jumped, water is always soft in the movies. And they showed him splashing in pretty good. It wasn't like a, way high jump that you didn't feel like you could survive. And plus we see him in the promo for the next season. So he got away, and then we see Mertz regain just enough control, right? She injects herself with just enough of the rest of the virus after she's, and we do see Murphy's cure does work, right? They use Murphy's blood. They kind of make an X on people's arms and inject it that way. So Murphy is able to get his blood into more people. He's spreading the gospel of the blends, as we've said, I think, in previous episodes. But she decides she's not going to have any more of it. She values her freedom more than her life, injects herself with the original vaccine, and walks into the zombie moat where she's bitten and turned. And now Murphy is without a scientist, and he's without anything left in the show. Like within the context of the show, she was the one who knew how to make this stuff. She was the one who knew about the original vaccine, and Murphy's up a creek at this point. He can't, he's not a scientist. He can't synthesize anything. And it was, such a great moment. The actress that plays Mertz, I was a little bit disappointed that she wasn't in season 2 more. I know that she was kind of a bit player, but I was excited that they had her be a main-ish character in this season, and to have her go out into that zombie moat, to see her decision as she chooses to be bitten rather than to continue under Murphy's control. That was a powerful moment for a lot of reasons. From her perspective, because we see her choose to die essentially, and wow, what a bummer that is. But also from Murphy's perspective, as he sees his last chance for hope, from his brand of hope, and his chance to control, his last chance to have the blends. If she's gone, he's gone. Except we do see In the teaser for the next episode, it's very exciting for me because we see Murphy now having to meet a crossroads. We're getting a little bit of iZombie action. My wife loves that show. Murphy has Dr. Mertz's body, and we see him with her skull open, looking at her brains, considering eating them. One would assume that within the mythology of the show, eating the brains would give him her knowledge of medicine, or at least some of that knowledge. But drama, they do such a great job of balance, like putting these really hard choices, because if he eats these brains, he's also going more towards the zombie side. He's going more towards the dead side. He's giving into that zombie side, and that for Murphy is just a non-starter. Oh, this is great. Everything about this season has been amazing, except for the opening movie. You guys know I wasn't a huge fan of that, but I mean, we just keep rocketing forward with this story. I love where they're going with this. I could not be more excited to keep watching and find out what happens next. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, you guys. If you like this video, please click that thumbs up button. It means a lot. Leave a comment if you have any further thoughts or things that I missed or other theories. I love to read those. And if you haven't subscribed, do that. I'll be doing this every week until the end of Z Nation. And I'll see you next week with another Z Nation recap.